Okay, I think I'm gonna go ahead and start. Thanks, guys. Just because I know I have a lot of information to provide you guys. I know that each and every one of you are probably very busy and have other priorities, and so have to prioritize your time to actually come here. So I really thank you and want to respect that. So today's session is on the move to pay for performance funding. I would love to introduce you guys and stuff like that, but with the limited time, I guess I will only be able to go ahead and introduce myself and a little bit about, what I do, and hopefully, later on, if you guys ever feel like you need to have more like the conversations, the one-on-one type of conversations, please feel free to put in a work request to institutional research, and we will always be very willing to come to your department meetings or to actually talk to you about how how it works and stuff. Okay. So just a little bit of housekeeping. All of you should have gotten, if you signed up, should have gotten like a folder. Okay, over there, and then in the back are some of the actual program related information that I wanted to go ahead and provide for you, because that would then give you an actual mapping to program. Okay, so if you are here as a part of like a larger group, please feel free to sit with your group so that you guys can see all of the various reports and stuff like that that's available for you. Because oftentimes, you hear pay for performance and things like that, but well, how does that, how do I fit into that plan? Okay, so what I would like to do is to, go ahead and do that so that it's at, the level where everything happens. Okay, so my name is Zong He. Introduction on myself, I work for institutional research. And stuff like that here. And then the last part of my life here, for the last 10 years, I've dealt with SIP. Okay, so that's why we have the SIP to SOC crosswalk here, and I thought I would go ahead and have wanted to do this particular workshop for a while, because without it, then a lot of you may not know how does that matter to me. Okay, so that's why I'm putting on this particular workshop. Okay, and for those of you that are not here, who are on, the YouTube live stream here, all of these files are going to be available online for you. First thing you want to do is probably go to the presentation. Okay, and the presentation is in the share folder. Most of you, if not all, if you're employed with the college, you should have access to the system and processes folder. Okay, then from there you can navigate to process info, and then reporting, internal reporting, and then training, and then presentation. And after this is over, I will go ahead and, if you sign in over there, I will go ahead and send everybody, just like how I sent you an appointment. Here's the e-file stuff. Okay. So actually, I may even go ahead and just send you the whole presentation. Okay, that way you will have everything. But you could, all of that is actually online right now. And then the labor market information that's in your packet is also online, and so is the program graduate report that's there and the gainful employment pieces. So your whole packet is available online in the system and processes area. It's just in different areas of the system and processes folder. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go on to the next thing, which is our workshop agenda. First, we're going to be talking about federal regulations. Okay, then we're going to be talking about a little bit about state regulations, and then the impact of these regulations for Maxim College. What does that do to us as a college? And then what impact you as program directors and deans can do. Because often, since we're a educational institution, the program area is where all the action happens. Okay, we in institutional research are a support unit. I know that I have my role to play, but there's only so much that I can do. So that's why I want to empower all of you to actually be able to do something, because that's where all the action happens. And we're here to support you in that respect with whatever that we can do as, institutional researchers, okay? And for those of you that haven't, met me personally before, I may know you, or you may know me through email, and that's basically how I know everybody. I haven't really met a whole lot of you, okay? So, but I'm glad that you came today, and so, that is our philosophy as a department, that we're here to empower you to make an impact, for our students, okay? So the next thing we're going to be talking about is the federal regulations, okay? Federal regulations versus a thing that they call gainful employment, okay? I'm just going to go ahead and show you what it looks like too, because this is the federal gainful employment laws, okay? And they have different regulations there, okay? And I will have this link to on my PowerPoint. But in 2010, the U.S. Department of Labor wanted to regulate those schools that are, some consider them to be predatory type of schools that were, going, hey, come to our school. You could go ahead and get this awesome job. But then after they graduated, or maybe they didn't graduate, they were, left with lots of debt where they couldn't pay back whatever student loan that they actually took out to go to the school. Okay, so in 2010, the feds wanted to go ahead and regulate that. And so through the U.S. Department of Labor, this particular regulation came about and affects student financial aid for programs. How many of you guys know that your students have financial aid in your program? Okay. And we'll talk a little bit about that, okay? Because some of you, maybe it's like, 20% of your students. Some of you it's 50%, 60%, 70%, okay? So if your program doesn't meet these particular criteria that they have, with a loan repayment rate of like 35+% of the students that, graduate from your program, or, a debt to earnings annual ratio of less than or equal to 12% of their total earnings, or a debt to discretionary earnings ratio of less than or equal to 30% of the discretionary income, your program could potentially fail, okay? And so if your program fails, that means that your program is going to be put into this yellow zone, warning zone, for a few years, and if nothing happens, it could be, off of the financial aid eligible program list. Okay, so that means that your students, your 40, 50, 60% of your students won't be able to actually come in, take those courses, okay, or take your program. So it's very, very important to us that you guys are aware of that. And so when we send out these, not us necessarily, but when financial aid, because they are the process owner for this, when they send out this request, hey, can you go ahead and give us information for your gainful employment, you need to go ahead and know that it's serious and respond. Yes?
So this applies to both private and public colleges?
Yes. Okay. This regulation applies to all schools that are receiving financial aid. Okay. So, and financial aid is not just grants, it's actually grants or loans. Okay. So that's why it's important that you guys at the program level are aware of that and keep track of what's happening within your program too. And I will be showing you guys. Many of you should have, if you are a what we call a GE type of program, you will have as part of your packet something that looks like this. So if you could go ahead and pull up your sheet that looks like this, then we can go ahead and go over this so you can see what it looks like for you as a program. And if you haven't picked out one of those, feel free to, I know I made extra copies, but since everybody's here already, you could go ahead and just pick one of those other ones and we can see what it looks like. But you can see this is what is the example here. I pulled out surgical tech. And this particular regulation doesn't affect every program. Right now, it's only affecting those that are deemed to be like career type of programs. So liberal arts is not in this mix at all. Okay. So these particular programs you'll need to be aware that you are part of that mix. And then this is actually a template that we get, from, the Department of Ed, so that they can actually see if you're complying or not. And this is on the internet. They told us you need to go ahead and post it somewhere very public for all students that are potentially considering going to your program or those career fields, so that they know. First off, what's the fee? How much is it going to cost for the program as a whole? Okay, and that's the first part there. And then what are the financing options available? And as you can see here, I highlighted down here, many of you guys should have like how many of their actual program graduates have financial aid. In this particular case, this is surgical tech, 50% of their program graduates have financial aid. Okay, so that provides you with some information. And over here, the success, and it really is about success. Yes.
I'm lost where you are with the papers. Is what you're referencing in our individual papers?
Yes, it should be in your individual packet. So it's like the second page or so.
Thank you.
So, second. And if you don't have it, okay. If you don't have it, that's okay. Because this is actually available with your program online. So when you go online, as a part of your program, you should see GE, the connection or the link to the GE, report. Okay. So those are actually available to you guys online. So sorry about that. Yes. Question?
So do private colleges have to do the same thing? Do they have to publish this?
Yes. This affects every school that actually wants any type of financial aid. Okay. So, and the regulation was actually specifically created for those private schools. You know who they are. That want to go ahead and, as a part of it, many of them were defaulting on their student loans, okay? And so that's why this regulation came about. And that's why they have specific things that we, as an institution, in all colleges that are, going for those financial aid dollars, need to go ahead and abide by, okay? So that's why you have this particular regulation. And as you can see here for this program, it tells like how long the program should take, what are their chances of getting a job, okay? Both, if they have a job placement rate, what is their job placement rate? Okay, so this here gives you guys the ability within your program, what's happening with your program. And many of you should have, as a part of that too, the graduate employment report. That's what feeds this information here. A lot of that information is what feeds this, okay? So that's the other thing I want to go ahead and let you guys know. So, yes.
When you said it's available to our programs, are you saying that on our program website,
Yes,
there
yes.
is a link?
Yes.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and take a look here, okay? I actually have a few links here. So who wants to be the guinea pig? Who wants their program to be picked on? Okay, no one?
That's nursing.
Okay, let's see. I actually didn't have nursing, so I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and do dental assistant. Is dental assistant here? Okay, how about like automotive?
Automotive technician.
Okay, I'll pick on automotive, okay? Because I linked some of you guys here. So this is your page right here, automotive technician. Okay, and you can see here, this is the link to the employment report. Okay, you guys may have seen this, okay? And then this here is the link to the gainful employment page. Okay, so if you are a program that fall within the gainful employment regulation, you should have a gainful employment sheet like this, okay? So this is what I was talking about, that all of you should have access to this, and you can go ahead and print it. This is made available so that your students who are thinking about coming into your program will actually have this ahead of time before they come. They should know how much it costs for tuition and fees for your whole program. Okay. Yes.
So there could be programs that don't have a sheet, like.
Yes, there could be, and that's a good thing. So let me go ahead. These are the current programs that have, what we call their GE programs. Okay, so they're on this list here. In your sheet that is like in the middle, you should have like the list here, or actually a screen printout of this right here in your folder itself. Okay, so in there you should have what are the GE programs. Okay, yes.
So if our program isn't on there, we're not a GE program?
If your program's not on here, you're not a GE program yet. Okay.
What qualifies you a program as a GE program?
The regulation is what actually qualifies you. So first off, they wanted to go ahead, and this is from 2010. So they started the regulation at that time for like specific programs that were like occupational or career oriented. So that's why you see some of like the 32, you know, the automotive and stuff like that, you know, the 2-year automotive and things like that in there. And then you will be seeing some of like the less than 1 year and the 1 year. Okay. Later on, we don't know when they may go, okay, the rest of you, now you do the GE stuff too. Okay. So that's where we see, you know, things heading towards. So initially it's going to be these, but then it could be progressive. Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
So does the government send you the list? Because, I mean, like nursing is, to me, is a career, vet tech is a career.
Yes. Yes.
They're not on there.
Yeah, they do. They go ahead and they tell us. Right now, many of you guys get financial aid. Many of your programs get financial aid. However, this particular regulation was meant specifically for those who were schools who were like, you know, like I was saying before. I don't like to use the term, but they're a little bit more like predatory, they call them. Okay, so they are trying to make it so that the programs that they chose are programs that not only we offer, but that everybody else out there is offering too. Okay, so that tech, we're the only one in the whole state that offers that program. I don't know how many other ones they have, you know, so yes.
So how would that affect programs that don't have like graduates like arts and sciences? And also on an unrelated question, is the government doing anything to recoup the money from these private institutions?
That's part of the regulation. This is the reason why the regulation came about, because of the high default loans. Many of those that were, you know, in what they call career type of programs. And so for many of you guys who have like the 2-year programs, your nursing and your vet tech and all this other stuff, we know that your graduates get financial aid. As right now, the federal regulation currently does not apply to you. It doesn't mean it will not apply to you in the future, because a lot of the federal regulation is moving towards outcome. Okay, the state regulation is moving towards outcome, and that means that they want to see, you know, the students have spent all this money. Did they actually graduate? If they graduated, did they get a job? Okay, this is just the first part of it. This year is our first year that we are mandated to actually provide for our GE programs individual students, okay, who got financial aid. They are going to match it against the person's tax return. And then they're going to go, this program here, you are, you know, remember those measures that I talked about previously? You meet or you do not meet those criteria. Okay, so it's not just going to be a general broad overall. They're going to actually pull the student's tax return. That's our understanding. So they're matching it up against their income, basically. So this is where you guys need to be aware that, especially if you're a program, you want to be sure that, you know, retention is something that you want to focus on. Not only that, you know, potentially placement is something that you guys need to go ahead and help out with too. I know that Keith wants us to, as a part of this whole GE thing, take a look at all of our program and do some preliminary to assess whether any of our program is falling within that yellow zone. Okay, because if you're falling within that yellow zone, we want to work with you. Especially financial aid wants to work with you, because if you fall within the yellow zone, then you have like 2 to 3 years, which I think is pretty generous, but I don't know, to go ahead and change that. And if you don't change it, then that's when, you know, your program may not be eligible. And if your program's not eligible and you have a lot of students that rely on financial aid, you know, that could be the death of the program. Okay, yes.
Question regarding that. So students are awarded a certain amount and they can accept an amount that's above and beyond the amount of their tuition.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not necessarily something that we have the ability to control.
Mm-hmm.
So if students are consistently accepting a maximum above and beyond the amount of their tuition, which increases the amount of the debt they're taking on, and that throws off the proportion that's related to the amount of the income that they're making, that negatively reflects on the program, but isn't necessarily related to the outcomes of the program. How is that gonna be handled when it's, evaluated by the government?
This is where, we're all in this together, okay? It's not just about the program directors, they need to learn they need to have courses on financial literacy, and that type of thing. And so that, when the students are coming in, they really consider how they are going to actually repay. Okay, so this is something that if we know that some of our programs are potentially going to be affected, that's where financial aid wants to help you guys or help programs come up with some of those financial literacy courses. And actually, as a part of this, we need to start doing that, so that they have some of that, so that they could go ahead and go, do I really need to have all of this loan, and such. Okay, but as a part of it, they should see how much it costs for everything already. And so their financial aid package is based on the cost of your programs too. So, there is, the success is, you have a small part of it. We have a small part of it, but a lot of it lays on the student. Okay, so, that's where the areas, our service areas, financial aid and, other places, they need to also have a part of it in the student success. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. So that's it for, the gainful employment part of it. Now I want to go ahead and talk about some of the state regulations. Okay, this is actually a map that has the pay for performance funding for colleges. Okay, and this was updated on 2015. Okay, and as you guys can see, there's quite a few colors on this particular map. Okay. The purple is for those states who have some type of pay for performance in two-year institutions, okay? And that's like us and Texas and, Washington, Wyoming, and some of the other ones. And then the blue is those who have, some type of pay for performance at four-year institutions, okay? So you see some of the green is the ones that have it both at 2 years and 4 year. And then, a few 4 states are in transition. Okay. So, this initially wasn't the case, but more and more state is going towards this formula. Okay, the pay for performance funding for colleges. Okay, so we anticipate that, what we have is probably not going to be something that will go away. Okay, you guys have seen there's been a progressive trend in this country for education, where it used to be that there was a lot more funding available for education and things like that, but that is not necessarily the trend nowadays, okay? And more of them want to see, hey, we're spending all this money on education, it's a big chunk of the state funding and stuff like that, where is it going? So they have these pay for performance measures that they are coming up with, okay? So if you guys want to take a look at it at any time, you could do that. Okay, I actually have a link to the site here that lists the different states and what they have and things like that. It's from the National Conference of State Legislators. Okay, and then you see here more detail on each program and what on each state and what they have and stuff like that. Okay. But with the limited time that we have, we won't go into too much detail for that. Okay. Now for us, what does this mean for us? Okay, as you guys know, we have that, 2013, we have the Act 20. Okay, and initially they started with 9 measures. Okay, and then they're going to be adding one more measure starting in the 2017 academic year right here. Okay, so the first one is the placement in jobs related to programs of study. Okay, and that's where we were saying before that placement and outcome is becoming more and more important. Okay, it's not good enough that they just come here. They need to go ahead and be able to get a job. So this particular regulation was aimed at that, to go ahead and see if, the students that come here actually get placed in jobs. So that's measure number 1. Okay, and we get that information here from our graduate employment report. Okay, so most of you should have a copy of your program's 3-year graduate employment report. Okay,
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I just made a comment right before that. So, whoever sent the email, let us come to your program courses, talk to your students about the importance of this, which we did. One of the things that seems to me is that the way that we are connecting students with that could be improved significantly.
Yes.
And so, because my understanding of it, it was a paper survey that's mailed out, and that maybe was good in the 70s or the 80s, maybe the 90s. But, to really connect to students and maybe talk about if students don't reply, they're counted as a failure. And so I don't know if we have the ability as a college to make some changes on that, but I think that's one of the most important things we can identify is how we're reaching students. Because, we keep saying it's a digital age, technology has changed, they're using the technology and yet we're not.
Yeah.
And we wonder why our response rates are low,
Okay.
so.
It's a good thing that you brought that up because institutional research does a graduate employment, survey and cycle. Okay, so for the first maybe 5 years of my life, that's what I did. Okay, so as a part of that process, we go through and actually do like 3 paper or hard copies, and we send it out to the latest address that we have. Starting like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, we actually are emailing, okay, the latest information that we have. We're emailing their the last personal email address that we have. We don't have any personal email addresses. We go ahead and we send it out to the school address, but how many of you guys know if your students actually check their school email after they leave? Not a whole lot. So this is where, we are hopeful that from your, where you sit, if you guys could go ahead and just remind your students that the particular survey is going to be coming out and, update their email addresses, and things like that. If we could go ahead and hit them first with their email and get feedback that way, then that will save us money and time actually to having to go through and do the first mailing, second, third, a phone call, okay, and a postcard. Okay, so we go through 5 different processes before we sort of like give up on them. Actually, by that time, they hate us. Okay, they are going, why are you bothering me? Okay, I don't, so we need to go ahead and, for you guys, this is where you have a personal relationship with them. Okay, and so hopefully, if you want to, we will be more than happy to have you send out the link that says, hey, I know that you graduated. Here's the link to this particular survey. Remember, I told you that it was coming, and so please fill it out for us because we really, really need it. Okay, so
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Can you send the program directors the link? So,
Yes.
because we're trying to maintain that relationship with them.
yes, we can definitely do that as a part of the process, and like I said, we would love to do that. Okay.
What is your typical response rate, and have you thought about providing incentives?
Yes, so as a part of it, I've given away iPads, I've given away laptops, so we have incentives that we have in place to try and, have it so that they actually, will respond, and at one point it's like, hey, if you go ahead and respond within the first mailing, you get 2 chances of being, drawn from the pot, okay? So those are things that we tried incentives, I think maybe about 6 years ago, or something like that, 6 or 7 years ago, to try to do that.
So can the survey be done electronically?
Yes, it can be done electronically, and depending on what program you are in, we actually have a pretty complex branching logic, so say for example, nursing, surgical tech, radiography, some of these other programs that have certifications needed by their accrediting agencies, we also do that for them. Okay, so we summarize that for them as a part of the whole process. And what that does is hopefully cuts down on your work as program directors and things like that, so that you can focus on the teaching part, and we will take care of the survey pieces. Okay.
So the survey is electronic right now. It's a link to the survey.
Yeah, it's a link to the
It's not
survey.
paper. They don't get an email and fill it out as paper.
No. They get an email that goes, here's the link to the online survey. Okay, please go ahead and take it, and it will take you maybe, it really depends if they are just a regular program or one of the program that has to fill a lot of accreditation stuff. So sorry if you are accredited. In addition to getting the regular, survey, which is pretty much detailed in your graduate employment report as to what questions we ask, they will get the additional one of however many questions that come as a part of the whole, graduate survey cycle. And if you ever need to send out to graduates, we would prefer to have you work with us in institutional research so that you're not doing it, but not only that, the student hates to hear from too many different people, hey, I already filled out a survey on this, why are you sending me this again? Okay, or, that way we could go ahead and consolidate the survey so that they go ahead and fill everything at once and they don't get hit with too many surveys, because the more you try to survey them, the less they're likely to be, responding. Okay, so that's why we want to go ahead and work with you to consolidate it. Okay, yes.
Is there any way, short of being physically present at graduation and writing down names as people walk across the stage, to know who is eligible to graduate and who has graduated?
You should be getting a list from the hub, okay, Learning Success Operations. They should be getting you guys a list that says, hey, these are the number of people that we show that are potentially eligible to graduate. Is that correct?
How would I know that?
If you don't know that, go ahead and contact the hub, because they should be able to go ahead and pull you a list, okay?
But I'm saying, they're asking me, are these people eligible to graduate? Am I to go into my advisor center and look through each of their reports and verify that they've met all of the?
Yeah,
Can't- Why is that not automated? And I don't mean to shoot the messenger here, but we have a first contact from the student when they're a junior in high school and they see our website. And we have this post-graduation survey that's critical that they fill out. And we have this pipeline in between. There's about 90 students in my pipeline that I'm trying to manage. And this idea that every term I'm gonna go in there and look through all of their graduation progress reports and see, is this person on track?
Yeah.
It just seems to me like this is so critical.
I actually have a few reports, and I think Ken has used them in the past, where you could go ahead and pull everybody for your program and see what they're doing, what they took. Actually, you guys can see what grade they're getting, what classes they are in progress on, and all of that.
And
So,
one report for all the students?
yeah, one master report for all the
It's
students.
huge, but it's good.
When you
So what's the
consider-
name of it?
Yeah, it's a Cognos report, and it's report number 19.
Oh, I was gonna sell it for $5.
Okay. And this is why I want you guys to be aware of that, because it
social media and mobile apps. Is there research being done perhaps on adjusting our, how we communicate with the students?
Yeah, a lot of it is, you know, those other social media and things like that, they are a little bit too broad. Okay, and so there's, we need to go ahead and actually target the specific students as to who they are and what programs they graduated from, because on our actual survey, we send it out to them. And
This was my program, and that would lead them down the path of the,
yeah, a lot of the research shows that students go, I don't want to hear from you on my social media network. Okay, there's a specific reason why so that's the other thing too, because they use social media for a certain thing, and then, you know, they use, you know, my school email and my other stuff for, you know, other things. And so there's been research, we looked into that a little bit, shows that I want to separate my realm. You know, my work life is like this, and my school life is like this, and my social life is like this. You know, so okay. Okay, then and then and
You know, you talked about the process with, you know, trying to reach these graduates, you know, the email, the paper, the postcard, the phone call. At the very end of the process, I hate to say it, but at some point you have to say, we've done everything we can,
Yes.
we've given up. At that point, could we as program directors be emailed, here are the 3 students we cannot reach. Do you want to try?
yes.
You know, I mean, like, you've given up, like you said, you don't want too many cooks in the kettle and all this kind of stuff, but I would love to know, I mean, maybe I know where that student is, you know, and I mean, and I'd be curious who they are,
Yeah.
too. that have responded. I know that was another layer of work,
Yeah.
but I think it would be worthwhile.
Yeah.
If it could.
Yeah, we can go ahead and definitely, that's where, and can you email us that, suggestions? Okay, okay, so I'm gonna try and move forward, answer your question if you had anything.
We have struggled with keeping track of paralegal alumni for probably the last 10 years. And one of the things that we've done, because we need to, for our American Bar Association accreditation, they make us report on a semester by semester basis who our grads are, where they work, down to law firm name, law firm address, and position held. And we need to do this at almost 100%, or we will get dinged on our reapproval application. So after trying to figure out how to do this, we have a LinkedIn alumni group. And what we do at our orientation for our students, and we have a 1-credit orientation class, 4 credit, that all of the students coming into the program, post-bac and associate degree, are required to take. We say to them, you are coming into an ABA approved program, and the data that we have to get from you after you leave is essential to this program continuing to be credited. So this is what you have to do. And Norma Croft is a taskmaster, and before the students graduate in their career building class, they have to join LinkedIn, set up their page, and as before they graduate, they have to join the LinkedIn alumni group. And that's been our really good, useful social media tool of staying connected. And Norma says, the survey are coming out, here we go, and we have had very good results with that. So it may help somebody else.
Thank you, Ann, that was helpful. So those are some of the suggestions that you guys could go ahead and do. And if you can send me that, Ann, if you can send me that suggestion, that'd be great. Okay. So anyway, sorry, my time is running out, so I just wanted to go ahead and maybe just go over some of this in more detail, and then we'll go into the actual SIP to SOC, because that's actually a big part of it. So the number of programs, okay, so we have degrees, number of degrees and certificates in high demand fields. We'll go over that a little bit. Number of programs or courses with industry validated curriculum. Okay, and that's those two that are highlighted or in yellow, those are not the ones that we actually use. Okay, and then number 4 is the transition of adults and such. I'm not going to go over the rest of it, but you have that as a part of your packet due to time. So what I want to do is focus on number 1 and number 2 because that's where I see that you guys have the most control. Okay. Again, liberal arts is not included for our state's pay for performance measure. Okay, and that for us is about 40% of our students. Okay. Hopefully in the future it might be that we don't know. Okay. So the Wisconsin Pay for Performance, it uses existing data from existing reports, and for us, that is our client reporting system and also the graduate follow-up and apprenticeship follow-up stuff. Okay, so those are what we're using, and we're using data from the last 3 years, so it's based on 3 rolling years. Okay, and then the college chooses about 7 of the 9 measures for their formula. Okay, and in this case, next year, or the 2017 timeframe, we will have 10 measures. Okay, but based on the past, that's what we had before. So the first formula year that we've been able to really see, okay, is the 2014-2015 year. Okay, and as you guys can see that the formula is based on all of these scores, and we're actually the pot of money is the WTCS pot of money. Okay, depending on how we do against the other 15 technical colleges, the pot of money is pretty much distributed. Okay, and as you guys can see for us, Madison College had, for the 14-15 year, we have 14% of the FTE statewide and 11% of the headcount. However, our pay for performance funding was only 9.4%. Okay, so the formula is changing. Okay, and in this particular case, it is not as favorably to us as it was before. Okay, so here we have for the 2014-15 year, the actual funding that was given out, and again, the yellow ones here, we did not use. Okay, the industry validated curriculum and the dual enrollment, we did not use those 2, and then the rest of it, you can see how it figures out. And so the total state pot was about 8 million, and whatever we don't use, then it gets recalculated. Okay, that's for the 14-15 year. For the 15-16 year, that's going to jump to 20%. Okay, of the state funding, and then in the 16-17 year, that's going to be 30% of the funding. Okay, and then we don't know about the future. Yes.
Quick question, or not, a comment on the number 3, industry validated curriculum. The TSA process that's actually funded through another pot.
Okay.
So I don't want that to be dismissed because it's still a requirement to do this TSA work to get the Perkins funding.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, thank you for that information. But for us, the measures that we chose for that time frame are the ones that you see that are highlighted in like the black. Okay,
yeah.
It could change every year because the cabinet or the president has the decision to go ahead and choose which ones we want to use out of the 7. If for the 2017 year, well, that may change, and each year it could change. And so typically we drop the 2 that we don't do as well in. Okay. Okay. Now, here's how the programs map directly to the state funding, as we were talking about before. Measure number 1 is the graduate follow-up report. Okay, so they're distributed 50% based on the placement rate and then the college's share of the number of graduates. Okay, so this is important for us because we do see that there's a trend for our college, and I don't know yet for the other colleges, but our college has not, our graduates has been going down. Okay, so you see here, there's a 3-year trend actually for the year ending in 2014. Okay, our trend has been going down in terms of graduates, and our trend has been going, maybe a little bit down, but not as much for the related. Okay, so I know that this is similar, the trend is similar for the other colleges too, but again, we're looking at the 16 technical colleges. And so if our trend goes like this and somebody else's trend is going like that, that means that our pot of money is going to shrink a whole lot more than some of the other schools' pot of money, because we only have one pot of money. So you guys may have heard from Tim about the way that we're going, or the trend we see out there for pay for performance and stuff like that. And so right now it's at 30%. We don't know what they're going to be doing because a lot of it is subject to legislation, as you know. And so, the more of this that we see, the more likely it is that they are going to go more and more towards, some type of pay for performance formula. So that's where it becomes very important that we, as college, look at our overall numbers and see what's happening. As you can see here, 2013, we have, 2012, we were at like, 3,994, and then we went to 3,646, and then there's a drastic drop in 2014 to 3,177. Okay, and that's a lot. So that's where we're going, as program directors. There's only certain things that you guys can control, but sometimes there could be things that you could hopefully put into place that will help with this. And again, retention. It's all about outcomes nowadays. Okay. So the high demand fields. In your sheet, you should have a list of all of the various high demand fields. Okay, and in the actual booklet in the middle somewhere there, you should have what they are. Okay, so the programs are actually mapped. Now I'm going to go into the SIP and SOC just a little bit because we're running out of time, and I'm sorry about that. But the SIP stands for Classification of Instructional Program, and it's something that is controlled by the U.S. Department of Labor. And they have the National Center for Statistics, Educational Statistics, IPED, and that's what we in institutional research go ahead and send information off and do reports and stuff like that for them. Then the SOC, that stands for Standard Occupational Code, that is something that is controlled by the U.S. Department of Labor. And they have information on through the Bureau of Labor Statistics there. So they have these here mapped to the SOC. Okay, they have like 840 occupations that the different jobs out there are part of. Okay, so this is not just our college. The SIP, the SOC is national. Okay, so that means that whatever it is that we have here, we have to map our stuff to the national standards. Okay, so that's why sometimes you may go, hey, I changed for this and this and this too, but then as a standard they have a default mapping. Okay, that these programs should train for these occupations. Okay, we have a little bit of control over that, but not a whole lot. And then you see the SIP to SOC crosswalk. This is through the labor Department of Labor site, and they have this master crosswalk that they do for us. Okay, so with the SIP and the SOC and the crosswalk, and that's how you get your labor market information. Okay, so let's take a look at an example here. Okay, we have business management. Okay, the SIP that is for business management is Business Administration and Management General. So you see the SIP code. Okay, that's the code for them, and then that is the actual job title or program title for them. Then it describes the program, what it does. Okay, so every program has that. Then here is SOC. Okay, so within the SOC, see here we have the code for the SOC, and this is just Administrative Services Manager and what they do, what it includes, what it excludes. Okay. Then we have over here the SIP to SOC crosswalk. Have your business administration program. Okay, because and here you have a lot of jobs that are part of that. Okay, so some programs you can see that they train for lots of different jobs. Okay, well here is the actual labor market information. For us, we use this tool called MC Analyst, and so after all the mapping and everything done, you see the program here. Here's our accounting program and some of the other stuff. Here's our completions. Okay, and completion they get from the Department of Education, through our federal reporting. And then you see other regional, because we're not the only school that offers accounting classes around here. Regional completion for the whole area that we serve. Okay, and in this particular case, we have 84 zip codes that we're serving. So that's what we put into the tool. And then you see how the regional openings that are here, what is the median hourly earnings, the regional jobs, 2015, and the regional projected jobs, and you see the job growth. How many of you guys have seen this before? Okay. This is what we give to Terry Webb as a part of the program mix, the program viability, as they call it. So you can see that this is how the SIP to SOC tie into the actual labor market information. Okay, so knowing how you as a program map what occupations you are attached to will help you to see how you can. Not only that, we can go ahead and print this out for you guys as a program, and that's what I did for each one of you guys. Okay, so the program should have that last sheet there. Okay, and it looks like this. Okay. So you should have, for your program, something that looks like this, and it would have all the occupations that are mapped for you. Yes?
So it says other regions, how large is that region?
Basically just our district. Okay,
So
so, yeah, so if you look at this report, it will actually show you who are the other schools. Okay, so this report will show you who's the other school. So anyway, since we're running out of time, I'm sorry I won't be able to actually do a live demo for you, but hopefully you guys will see that, for us, the mapping for our state funding, we actually have like 35 programs that are in the top 50 occupations with that measure number 2. These 35 programs actually feed into like 40 occupations. Okay, and so applied science and engineering and technology, you guys have 12 programs that map 7 occupations. Business and applied arts, you guys have 15 programs that map to 26 occupations. And then health, you guys have 4 programs that map to like 5 occupations. Human protective services have 4 programs that map to 2 occupations. Okay, so some programs like business management, you have a 1-to-many map as well. And then some other programs like you have a many to 1. So electrician is number 4 on the list. Okay, but there's 3 programs that actually feed into that. And so if you don't have anybody that are graduates in these programs, that's why I was a little bit concerned. Sandy, previously, and I talked to Denise Reimer for you guys as a school, because if you're mapping to these supposed to be high demand type of occupations, but we're not showing any graduates, then there's something wrong. There's something that is either broken in our internal process or something that maybe, they calling this like an in-demand occupation, it's really not, that type of thing. Yes?
So, the mapping is incorrect for IT because we show some of our programs. So what is broken? Is it that we have the wrong zip code, dot codes?
Yes, and as a part of that, every so often, zip codes and SOC codes, say for example, the Department of Labor, they will go ahead and be updating their SOC codes in 2018. Okay, and so every so often, they will be updating things. And so we just go ahead and as college try to keep our mapping current. And because especially, this before, within the IT area, things change quite a bit more. Some of the programs, they don't really change a whole lot, but some programs, they change a little bit more. So we need to just go ahead and keep things current.
Do we know which SOC and zip codes they chose as a definition of computer support specialists?
We do. We do have the actual SIP and SOC codes. And so if you guys are interested, after this, after this presentation, go ahead and to us. But remember that SIP and SOC is not just for us. The SIP and SOC is national. Okay, so these are the default. We have a little say into what goes into default. Because say for example, if our program actually, Sylvia and I have the next session too, so feel free to stay around for that too, but I'll go ahead and take some additional questions.